Celira's sharp claws clicked against the polished floor as she stormed through the human embassy's wide corridors. Every step seemed measured, but there was an undeniable tension in her posture. Her usually graceful movements were rigid, her spine uncomfortably arched. "I can't sit, I can't stand. What did you do to me?" she demanded, her voice echoing off the walls. Humans nearby froze. Few had ever heard an alien speak in such frustration. Even fewer had seen one so openly angry at a human. At the center of the room, Ethan Hale, a tall human soldier with broad shoulders, stood calmly. He had been briefed about the alien training exchange, but nothing had prepared him for this. "Celira," he began carefully, holding up his hands, "I swear I did nothing but follow the agreed training protocol. You're not hurt physically. Your scans show you're fine." "Fine," she repeated, her large amber eyes flashing. "I can barely sit on a chair. I can't stand without my limbs screaming. You call this fine?" Her voice rose with frustration, bouncing off the embassy walls. Humans who had gathered to watch the exchange whispered nervously among themselves. They had seen alien anger before, but this was a different level. A group of alien officials followed her, their expressions a mixture of concern and disbelief. They had warned her not to overreact, but now, standing before them, Celira's discomfort was evident. Her body had been through human training, a process designed to challenge endurance, stamina, and balance, things humans considered normal. But to Celira's species, whose bodies evolved in a gentle, low-gravity environment, it was more than overwhelming. Ethan sighed, trying to think fast. "You remember the exercises we did yesterday, the balance drills, the low-gravity mobility tests. Those are routine for humans. They strengthen muscles and train neural response. I didn't push you beyond the limits we agreed on." Celira's claws scraped against the floor again as she took a step closer. "Limits? Those were my limits," she demanded. "I have never felt pain like this. Every nerve in my body is screaming, and yet you smile and call it normal." One of the alien medical officers stepped forward, holding a sleek scanning device. "Allow me," he said in a measured tone. The device floated in front of Celira, scanning her body in a series of soft pulses. Data projected in holographic form showed muscle fibers denser than normal, neural pathways firing at accelerated rates, and skeletal structures slightly more resilient. The human medical team leaned in, intrigued. "She's not injured," one murmured. "Her body is adapting and fast, faster than anything we've ever seen." Celira flinched. "Adapting? I am in agony, I cannot function properly. Tell me, how is this adaptation supposed to feel normal?" Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. "It's a delayed reaction. Humans often feel discomfort when we push our bodies, but it's part of how we grow stronger. It's normal for us to go through it. Your body is adjusting, just like ours would under similar conditions." The alien officials exchanged worried glances. "Your species seems unusually resilient," one said cautiously. "We must review the data. This level of adaptation should not occur so rapidly." Ethan nodded. "I understand your concern, but I assure you no harm was done. The only thing you experienced was a human-style endurance drill." Celira's amber eyes narrowed. "Endurance drill? You call this torture a drill?" A human engineer whispered to another. "She doesn't even understand how mild that was for us." Celira's body shivered involuntarily as she attempted to sit on a nearby chair. Her claws barely touched the surface before she leapt back, her body protesting every movement. "I cannot rest," she cried. "I cannot find relief. What did you do to me, human?" Ethan took a careful step closer. "Nothing more than what was agreed. Look at the scans. There's no injury. You're just experiencing adaptation in real time. It's uncomfortable because your body isn't used to this kind of stress. Humans live with it every day and we thrive because of it." Celira's tail lashed behind her, striking the wall in frustration. "Thrive? This is agony. One of the alien officials stepped forward holding up a hand. Perhaps it is a cultural misunderstanding. We were told humans undergo rigorous training to survive extreme conditions. We see now that what you call normal is unbearable for her species. We must reconsider the exchange program. Ethan nodded. That's understandable, but there is more to this than meets the eye. Your body is changing, faster than you realize. This pain is temporary. In a few hours, your muscles, bones, and nerves will stabilize. You will be stronger than you've ever been before. Celira's claws dug into the floor. Stronger. I do not care about strength if I cannot function. I cannot stand, I cannot sit. What use is strength if I am paralyzed by agony? The human medical officer stepped forward. Pain is not weakness, she said gently. It is a signal that your body is adapting, learning, and becoming more resilient. Humans understand it instinctively. Your species, not so much, but it is the same process. Celira's ears twitched as she processed the words. She looked at Ethan, searching for honesty in his expression. And you humans, you do this to yourselves willingly? Ethan smiled faintly. Every day, we push our bodies to the limit, we endure pain, we fail, we recover, we adapt. That is how we survive. For a long moment, Celira was silent. Her body trembled, but slowly her breathing steadied. Perhaps I am not used to this, she admitted reluctantly. Perhaps your ways are not understood by my people. Ethan nodded. It's a different approach, but it works for us. Humans are not fragile. We face challenges because we expect to overcome them, no matter the discomfort. The alien officials began murmuring among themselves. This is remarkable, one said. Her body is already showing increased neural responses, denser muscle fibers, faster recovery. If humans do this daily, then they are indeed exceptional. Celira looked down at her trembling claws, then back at Ethan. Exceptional, perhaps, but also incomprehensible. Suddenly the alarms in the embassy blared. Red lights flashed as a warning echoed through the halls. Hostile fleet approaching, a voice announced. Shields compromised. Immediate action required. Ethan's eyes narrowed. This is the test. Not just for humans, but for you as well. If you want to understand what humans endure, this is the moment to see it in action. Celira blinked, confusion and fear flashing in her amber eyes. Action. What must I do? Ethan grabbed her arm gently. Follow me. Move through the corridors with me. Trust in your body. It's adapting faster than you know. Pain will be there, yes, but so will strength. You will see what humans truly endure. Celira's claws scraped against the floor as she moved, each step sending shivers of discomfort through her body. She stumbled once, then found her balance, amazed at the unexpected strength in her legs. This is strange, she admitted. I feel powerful, and yet exhausted. Ethan smiled faintly. That is how humans feel every day. Pain and strength are intertwined. We do not avoid it, we embrace it. That is why we survive. As the two of them ran through the embassy, coordinating with humans and aliens alike, Celira began to notice subtle changes. Her movements became smoother. Her senses sharpened. Her body no longer screamed with every step. The agony was fading, replaced by a strange exhilaration she had never experienced before. By the time they reached the control room, Celira was breathing heavily, but her amber eyes shone with newfound understanding. Humans, you endure through suffering. You do not cower from it. I see it now, and I am beginning to understand you. Ethan nodded. Good. That understanding is the first step. The rest comes with experience. Outside the windows, the enemy fleet loomed, vast and menacing. But inside, a human soldier and a furious alien girl were discovering a shared truth. Strength is not measured by the absence of pain, but by the will to endure it. And as the first waves of hostile ships fired upon the embassy, Celira gritted her teeth, ready to face what humans called normal, determined to survive, and perhaps even thrive, in a way her species had never known. The alarms blared, echoing through the embassy's corridors as red lights painted the walls in urgent streaks. Ethan Hale led Celira down the twisting hallways, each step a test of her strength and resolve. Her body still protested, muscles tight and nerves screaming, but she pushed forward. She could not falter, not now, not when the humans depended on her understanding. Outside, the enemy fleet was closing. Alien warships with jagged designs and blinding energy cores glinted against the dark expanse of space. They had attacked without warning, targeting the embassy in a bid to capture humans and alien diplomats alike. In a few minutes, the shields protecting the station would falter. Survival required speed, precision, and endurance, things humans had honed over millennia. Ethan glanced at Celira as they ran. "Keep moving," he said. "Don't think about the pain, trust your body. It's adapting faster than you realize." Celira's amber eyes glimmered with frustration and fear. "Adaptation. You speak as if I am not suffering. Every step is agony. My tail, my limbs, I feel as if I am being torn apart from the inside." "You are suffering," Ethan admitted. "But suffering is not weakness. Humans endure pain every day and we thrive because of it. You will survive this if you do not give in." A sudden tremor shook the corridor as the first wave of enemy fire hit the outer walls. Panels sparked and dust fell from the ceiling. Celira stumbled, nearly falling, but Ethan caught her arm. "See, your body is adjusting. You are stronger than you think," he said, steadying her. She gritted her teeth, trying to believe him. She had grown up in a world of gentle gravity, where movements were slow, calculated, and safe. Humans were reckless, bold, and willing to face dangers no alien in her species would dare confront. Yet here she was, pushed to her limits, and surviving. Slowly she began to notice something remarkable. Her movements were becoming smoother, her limbs responding faster, her balance returning despite the chaos. In the control room, humans and aliens were coordinating the defense. Screens flashed with targeting information, energy readings, and shield status. Ethan guided Celira to a terminal, showing her the status of the embassy's energy grids. "We need every hand," he said. "You can help by moving these systems, rerouting power to the shields. It will be difficult, but you can do it." Celira looked at the holographic controls, her claws hovering uncertainly. The interface was alien to her, designed for human dexterity and speed. I don't know if I can," she admitted. "You can," Ethan said firmly. "Your body is stronger than you know. Your mind is sharper than you think. You have already endured what would have broken a lesser being. Trust that strength." She took a deep breath, feeling the fatigue and pain settle into a dull, manageable ache. Her hands moved over the controls, hesitant at first, then with increasing confidence. Each adjustment she made sent pulses of energy through the station, reinforcing shields and redirecting power. She was participating in something larger than herself, a human-style endurance test not of her body alone, but of her will. Outside, the enemy fleet unleashed another salvo. The walls of the embassy shook violently, and sparks rained down from overhead panels. Humans leapt into action, working in tandem with alien officers who had never faced this level of chaos. Celira noticed how humans moved, not carefully, but purposefully. Every action, no matter how dangerous, was calculated. Every human seemed to thrive in the midst of danger. She began to understand. Humans were not fearless because they felt no pain. They were fearless because they acted despite it. Ethan guided her to a maintenance hatch that led to the external energy conduits. "We need to repair the outer shield generators," he explained. "It's risky. Zero-gravity damaged hull, enemy fire nearby. But if we don't, the embassy will fall." Celira's heart raced. Her body still ached, her limbs trembling, but she nodded. "Show me," she said. Together they climbed through the hatch. The airlock hissed shut behind them, and the vacuum of space stretched endlessly around them. The human training had prepared Ethan for this. His body moved with precision, his mind calculating every step. Salira struggled to match him, her muscles stiff, her body unaccustomed to the constant push against the vacuum suits and the unyielding weight of tasks she had never faced. Focus, Ethan instructed. Don't fight the pain, work through it. Adapt. Salira gritted her teeth and took another step. Her tail, once unwieldy in human-style maneuvers, now acted as a counterbalance, giving her stability. Her fingers moved over tools and panels with growing confidence. Every task completed reinforced the strange exhilaration building within her, a combination of fear, fatigue, and triumph. Time blurred as they worked, repairing conduits and rerouting energy to stabilize the shields. Outside, enemy fire streaked across the void, striking near misses that sent shockwaves through the station. Salira stumbled once, nearly knocking herself unconscious, but Ethan caught her again. "You are doing perfectly," he said, though his voice carried urgency. "Keep moving. Keep adapting." Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. Sweat poured beneath her suit, muscles screamed, and every nerve demanded surrender. Yet she did not stop. Something inside her had shifted, an instinctive understanding that endurance was not suffering but power. The human strength was not just physical, it was the ability to continue despite pain, to act when most would quit. Finally, they reached the outer shield generators. Panels flickered, sparks dancing as they worked to stabilize the core. Salira's claws flew over controls with surprising speed, her body moving almost as if she had trained for years. Ethan's eyes widened in admiration. "You've adapted faster than anyone I've ever seen," he said. Salira panted heavily. I feel stronger and yet exhausted beyond words." "That is normal," Ethan said with a faint smile. "Humans feel the same way. Pain becomes energy once you push through it." The final conduit hummed to life, the shield generators stabilizing. The red alert lights dimmed slightly, though enemy ships still hovered, menacing and relentless. Salira took a moment to float in zero gravity, catching her breath. She looked at Ethan, her amber eyes filled with awe. I do not understand fully, but I am beginning to see." "You see what it means to survive as a human," Ethan said. "We thrive because we endure, because we act despite fear, pain, and exhaustion. That is our strength. That is why we are exceptional." Salira's tail twitched, her body trembling with fatigue, but a spark of determination burned in her eyes. "Exceptional, yes, I feel it, and yet it is terrifying." "Fear is normal," Ethan said gently. "Humans feel fear too. The difference is we act anyway. You are learning that now." Together, they floated back to the station's interior, the corridors still echoing with alarms but calmer now. Other humans and aliens worked tirelessly, inspired by their success in stabilizing the shields. Salira realized that the chaos outside was not something to fear, but something to confront. The pain she had felt, the discomfort, the struggle, everything had been preparation for this moment. She remembered her initial complaint, the sharp words, the frustration at her body. "I can't sit, I can't stand," she murmured to herself. Now she understood. The pain was temporary. The strength she gained would last. The humans had endured countless trials, and she was only beginning to glimpse what it truly meant to be like them. Ethan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You've done more than survive. You've learned. That is the first step toward understanding us fully." Salira nodded slowly, her amber eyes reflecting both exhaustion and awe. I still cannot sit comfortably," she admitted with a faint smile. "But I understand. I am beginning to understand why humans endure." Outside the window, the enemy ships continued to circle, but the embassy stood firm. Humans moved with calm determination, aliens adapted quickly, and Salira floated among them, no longer just a visitor but a participant in the human way of survival. For the first time, she did not feel broken or weak. She felt capable, strong, ready. And somewhere deep inside, she realized that this understanding, this resilience, was far more valuable than the temporary pain she had once feared. In the quiet moments after the chaos, as she adjusted to zero gravity and watched the human crew coordinate their next move, Celira's mind reflected on a simple truth. Humans were extraordinary, not because they avoided danger, but because they faced it without hesitation. That realization was both humbling and inspiring. She clenched her fists, feeling the tension in her muscles ease slightly. "I will endure," she whispered to herself. "I will act like them." Ethan looked at her with quiet approval. "That's all it takes," he said. "One step at a time." And with the station stabilized for the moment, Celira prepared for the next challenge, ready to embrace the human way of endurance, courage, and unyielding strength. The enemy ships had begun a concentrated attack on the embassy, their energy beams streaking across the void of space. Each strike sent tremors through the hull, rattling consoles and sending sparks flying from exposed wiring. Inside the station, humans moved with calm urgency, coordinating defenses and repairing systems on the fly. Celira floated alongside Ethan Hale, her body still aching from the previous day's training, yet she no longer felt helpless. Pain was present, but it had become a familiar companion, guiding her movements instead of holding her back. "Ethan," she called, her voice steady despite exhaustion, "what is our next move?" "We need to stabilize the shield's outer sector manually," Ethan said, scanning the readouts. "Automated systems can handle minor damage, but for the concentrated fire coming from the Northern Fleet, we need human precision. You can do this." Celira's amber eyes widened. "Me, I am still not fully recovered." "You are more ready than you think," Ethan replied. "Trust your body, trust yourself. Remember what you've learned, pain does not stop us, it guides us." The two of them floated toward the airlock leading to the northern shield sector. Outside, the station's hull reflected the chaos of energy blasts, each one a reminder of the stakes. Celira adjusted her suit, feeling the tight grip against her body, the strain in her muscles, and the weight of her tail as a counterbalance. For the first time, she realized that discomfort did not equal weakness. It was a signal to push further, to focus harder, to survive. As they reached the outer corridor, a beam of concentrated fire struck the hull near them, sending vibrations through the metal plating. Celira's claws dug into the surface instinctively. Her muscles screamed, her vision blurred, yet she kept moving. Ethan noticed the subtle changes. Her tail now held steady, her arms moved with more confidence, her eyes sharper and more alert. "See," Ethan said quietly. "You are adapting faster than anyone I've seen. Humans endure, and you are learning to endure alongside us." Celira gritted her teeth. "I feel strange, strong, yet exhausted. My body aches, but I can keep moving." They reached the shield generator panel, the source of the northern sector's vulnerability. Sparks flew from damaged conduits, and a low hum indicated unstable energy flow. Ethan handed Celira a set of tools designed for precise human manipulation. "We need to realign the energy channels manually," he explained. "It will be difficult and the timing must be exact. One mistake and the shield could collapse entirely." Celira swallowed, then nodded. I will do it." Her hands moved over the controls, fingers adjusting levers and panels with increasing confidence. Each movement required immense focus, her body aching with every step, yet her mind sharpened. She noticed how humans approach challenges, not with hesitation but with action. They did not wait for fear to pass. They acted anyway. She understood now that this was the essence of human strength, the ability to move forward despite uncertainty, despite pain, despite exhaustion. Ethan worked alongside her, correcting minor errors and encouraging her when necessary. "Keep going. You're doing perfectly," he said. "Pain is temporary. The results last." Hours seemed to pass in minutes as the two of them stabilized the generator. Energy flowed through the conduit smoothly, shields began to recover, and the northern sector no longer flickered under enemy fire. Celira felt a surge of pride, mixed with disbelief. She had faced something she never thought possible, and she had succeeded. A sudden warning flashed on the nearby console. "Hostile boarding party detected," a human officer announced. "Shields may hold, but the enemy is attempting to breach the outer hull." Ethan glanced at Celira. "This is the next test. Are you ready?" She nodded, her body trembling but her spirit firm. "I am ready," she said. They floated toward the docking bay, where several enemy vessels had deployed boarding units. Humans were already engaging, using combination of martial skill, quick thinking, and improvised tactics to repel intruders. Celira's movements were awkward at first, but her training, both human exercises and the past few hours' endurance, kicked in. She leapt, dodged, and struck with precision she had never thought possible. An enemy soldier lunged at her, claws extended, but she twisted midair, using her tail to throw off balance and push him back. She felt the familiar ache in her muscles, the strain in her spine, yet it no longer intimidated her. Pain had become a guide, telling her what to focus on, how to adjust. Ethan moved beside her, coordinating attacks and covering gaps. Together they cleared the first wave of boarders. Celira's confidence grew with each successful maneuver. She realized something profound. Humans did not fear difficulty. They embraced it. Pain, struggle, and danger were not barriers. They were tools to sharpen resolve. The battle continued. More boarding units arrived, but Celira no longer hesitated. She moved fluidly now, anticipating attacks, reacting instinctively. She felt stronger, faster, more capable than she ever had. Each strike, each dodge, each adjustment reinforced what she had learned. Endurance was strength, fear was temporary, and action defined survival. As the final intruders were repelled, the station's alarms quieted. The immediate threat had passed. Humans and aliens alike began repairs, stabilizing systems damaged during the attack. Celira floated for a moment, letting herself breathe, feeling the lingering ache in her muscles but also the undeniable power in her movements. Ethan approached, smiling faintly. "You did it. Not just survived but contributed directly to the defense. That is what humans do. That is what makes us exceptional." Celira nodded slowly, amber eyes reflecting awe and newfound respect. I understand now. Not fully, perhaps, but enough. I see why humans endure. I see why you thrive. Pain is not a weakness, it is a teacher." A group of alien officials approached, looking at her with astonishment. "Your adaptation, it is unprecedented," one said. "Our reports will note this. Humans are remarkable." Celira glanced at Ethan. "They will see what I have seen. Strength is not in avoiding challenge. It is in facing it again and again despite the body screaming to stop." Ethan nodded. "Exactly. You have learned the human way not by observation but by experience. That is the difference." The station, battered but intact, now floated peacefully amid the stars. The enemy fleet had withdrawn for now, deterred by the combined human and alien defense. Celira watched through the viewport, reflecting on what she had endured. She remembered her initial complaint. "I can't sit, I can't stand." Now she smiled faintly. She could sit, she could stand, and she could endure far more than she ever thought possible. "I will train more," she whispered to herself. "I will learn to endure like them. I will not fear pain. I will act, I will survive, I will thrive." Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. "And you will. You've proven yourself today, not because you avoided struggle but because you faced it. That is the human way." Celira looked at him, a mixture of gratitude and determination shining in her eyes. "Thank you for showing me, for helping me see the truth." Ethan smiled. "No need for thanks. You did all the hard work. Humans only guide. The rest comes from within." For the first time, Celira felt a deep connection to humanity, not just as an observer but as a participant. She had experienced their struggles, felt their pain, and discovered their strength firsthand. She understood now that humans were extraordinary not because they avoided difficulty, but because they embraced it, learned from it, and acted despite it. As repairs continued and the station regained stability, Celira floated to a window, watching the stars streak past. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was vast and dangerous, full of challenges that no alien or human could face alone. But she felt ready. Pain no longer intimidated her. Challenge no longer frightened her. Humans had shown her the way and she would follow it. In that moment, she realized something profound. Understanding humanity was not about learning their biology or customs. It was about learning their spirit. The spirit to endure, to act, to survive, and to thrive against all odds. And Celira, the alien who once cried out in frustration, now whispered quietly to herself, "I will endure, I will act, I will survive, I will thrive." For the first time, she felt the truth of human resilience in her own body and mind. She had become more than she was. Stronger, sharper, braver. And in that transformation, she found respect, admiration, and a bond with humans that could never be broken. The stars outside the embassy gleamed, silent witnesses to the courage and endurance of both species. Humans had survived and thrived once again. And now one alien had joined them, not just as a visitor, but as a student of their extraordinary way of life.